Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Glasgow in Scotland, and here on my channel I like to share what I get up to in my art studio. If you've been following me for a while, this is my winter studio. I usually am in my garage studio and I come up here when the weather gets colder in the winter time, and this is our guest room, but I am using it as my art studio at this point. So I wanted to start today off by tidying off this table and getting back to some of the artwork that I've been working on. I've been working on some abstracts in my style, and I will show you examples of that on the actual side of this video. But I've been working on some originals, and what I do is I like to layer them slowly. So I'm always at some point in some layering process on my originals, because I like to take my time and make sure that I put the energy into each piece that they require. So I had been adding some collage pieces to my originals, and I ran out of some gel mediums, so I bought a new one. Just gonna open this up. If this is your first time here, welcome. I like to share what I get up to in the studio. I like to share my art process, and that is what you'll find here. If you look at my prior videos, I show you what I do. I like to work with different mediums and different subject matter, but recently my original pieces, which I do, I create stags, abstracted stags. Let me just get some of my recent work. So I'm hoping the lighting is okay. Right now it is a lot duller than it usually is. Being winter time, I wanted to put my light on in here, but it is quite yellow, so I thought I should try and go with the natural light. It looks quite bright on my camera. I'm using my phone to film, but I'll see what it looks like when I start editing it later on. But I have these art pieces. I'm going to bring you closer so you can have a look at these pieces as well. So I've been working on a whole range of them, trying to be very planned out as to how I am working on my pieces. So let's see. So this is gloss gel medium. So this is a new one that I got. Then I can start collaging onto my artwork. So these art pieces I have been working on, and they are really cute. I need to finish off the backs because I used a whole range of papers to collage together to paint this on. I don't like to waste paper. I don't care what kind of paper it is. I love to work on it. So this is another one of my pieces. And so when I'm working in a series at the same time, I'm able to get the colors to be quite close to each other, and so you start to see the similarities and the links, and it's usually through the color. So these four I've got here, I need to kind of finalize, sign, and then I'll put them into their amounts. Is it 4? No, it looks like it's 5 of them. So here's another one. And I've been layering different papers. There's a lot of textures, like in this one, the paint, there's a ridge on this. I don't know if you can see that. Just check. Yeah, you can see the ridge on this one. So that is all the kind of textures you'll find on art pieces. So I like to layer the collages onto them. Let me get one of the mounts to show you what they look like. So my aim is to get them mounted, and so I have been very specific in the size that I created with this, so that I can just put this over like that. So that's what I'm doing. I am strategizing, I'm planning, I am making sure that when I'm creating certain sizes, they can easily fit into the mounts that I have, which are really good size, and the pricing works, I feel, currently for what they are. So yeah, this is what I'm working on. I do have some pieces that are not these sizes, and I either will adjust them or I have to take them to an actual framer. But like this one here, I know I don't have a mount for this shape. This shape is quite long, but I love what it is I'm creating on it, so I am going to have to get a framer to work on this when I finished it. So that's what I was doing yesterday, was working on a whole batch of these, adding layers and colors and scratching into them, and that's what I'll be doing some more of today. So I'm just tidying my space up so I can do that, just organizing things. I'm really glad I've got this, my gel medium now, that I can use, so I can get back to it. But what I was going to do is get some of these. I also wanted to use my jelly plate, I've remembered now. So I was going to scratch into the jelly plate and start adding some layers onto my artwork I worked on yesterday. I'm really learning to be patient. Let me just turn you around so you can see me. So I'm really trying to learn to be patient with the art pieces I'm working on, so that I can really get the textures I want into them, all the marks and all the details as well. So I am going to be doing some jelly plate work. So I have some that I've already created in the past, but I'm going to add some layers straight onto these paintings today. And I have some paints I'd already created a couple of weeks ago. I have one of the videos prior to this, maybe like say 3 videos back on my channel, and I'm going to use some of those colors. So I'm just bringing them out here of this container, then I can use them, and that's how the colors would become a bit more cohesive. I pre-mixed these some weeks ago, and I'm going to try and add them. And I've realized as well, listening to music helps me get into the painting zone. So I will be putting some of that on while I work. But yeah, I want to make some of the marks with these on the jelly plate, and also then trying to also use up some paints I have that need to go. I will do some drawing with my China markers as well. So trying to find different ways to make the paintings interesting. But the main thing I'm telling myself as well is just to play, because if I don't do that, I will limit myself and it will become a chore, and it's not what I want. So I'm just looking at some tools I want to use at some point. And I don't mind if I cover over like a lot of what I've done already. I will come back and add to that as well. So I'm going to put my apron on and then start working on some things. But let me just I said I was going to tidy, and I've not really done that. I just meant tidy the table. Where I put what I'm tidying away is not the question, really. But yeah, there's some colors I want to bring into these pieces I've got, and yellow would be good. So I've got a whole range of yellows here, greens. There's some colors I want to use up as well. So I'm trying to think of interesting ways to mix them so that I can use them, you know, to make them some other color that I would prefer. But let me get my jelly plate and then I'll get my apron on. So have that stored in here. It's a whole range of things that I want to use. So I kind of use it in the space that I have because I don't want to bring it out and do anything else with it. I use it in there, and I'll just put the paint on. Let me get my apron on first. I think I'm noticing that I'm actually very hungry, so this session or this segment might not take that long. I will probably have to pop off and eat and then come back. But I want to make quite an impact, so I'm going to use this yellow first. And then use this palette knife. So let me make sure you're in the view. So what I'm going to do is just start and see what happens with this. I want to maybe put like a yellow down aside. And then I can mix different colors into this as well. But let's test it with just that and scratch some shapes into it. This is what I was imagining, just a design. And I will use off the excess. Actually, I can still use off the excess on the painting somewhere else. Let's just put that down. Right, and then I'm going to press this on, and I'm thinking where I want to press it. Just on the edge, why not? Edge, edge, edge. I could have actually laid it on the actual, you know, I could lift the jelly plate. That's a lot messier. It's best to just go like this. So I haven't tried this. I've been imagining it. It depends on the papers you're using as well. This is quite a thick card. So let's see what the effect is. So that's the effect on the edge there. There are a little bit of scratches. Like I could see where the marks were. So I'm going to leave that. I could do another bit, isn't it? I could do another bit somewhere. Let me scratch it again so that I carry more than one of the color around. I think I discussed some time ago about the art process. It is what I am trying to get myself into. Right, I want to do this, but I have such a mess here. I have enough space. I keep telling myself that. But so another thing is I will probably have to take this out and put it on the outside. I need to figure it out. I don't think this is a good idea doing it this way. It's not really reaching my paper as well as I'd like it to. So that is probably a better print. This was probably too much on it, and I like to do things in threes, so I'm going to add another bit. Let's see, down here. You can see the haphazard way I work. This is how you get the abstraction. If you're not coordinated at all, you will make a mess, and that will add to your artwork. I am not fussy at all. I just wanted 3 parts with a hint of the yellow. I'm going to put it away now. So if I want, what I can do is just go across and make this yellow on all of them. They won't all show But I'm trying to be kind of just have a system. Right. Usually I use very thin papers on this and it's usually fine in there, but I think I need to take it out if I want to use some firmer, bigger pieces. So this is all the fiddly parts. It was fine the way I did it before. Right, let me try this again. That'll do. So I'm using my palette knife a lot more than I used to, which is it's been fun to be doing this. And let's use the palette knife to scratch into it just as I'm saying that. So there's a subtle, actually I have to be careful because it is a jelly plate, isn't it? I shouldn't scratch into it anyhow. So let's see what this design does. I'm also looking, as I said, I'm looking at the process. I'm looking for easier ways to add color and paint onto my art pieces. So I'm using a whole range of techniques to get more onto my work. And I'm doing that in threes. Yeah, I like that addition. So I'm just going to go through all of these and add different colors to them. Let's go for this one. And I wouldn't think too much. It is like screen printing as well, which was another reason I came to think about it. So this space here, I've just added some of that color over to the mouth, and that will do something. This one, I'm just being very light with it, but I think that's too light. I'm gonna add some more. You can do a lot with these actually. And in this corner. So aside from being more strategic and planning out what it is I want to do, also the process, trying to expedite the process. I've been trying to make originals one of my key decisions in my artwork. I do stickers and other stationery and things like that, but I want to be able to make original pieces that people can take away, and I want to make them very strategically and make sure that I've added enough detail and layers into them as I would normally. So I'm trying to look for processes that will help me build those layers a lot faster and still get the quality that I'm looking for. There's still that uniqueness. Right, let me use a different tool. So these scratching tools are shaper tools. They've got a lot of different names. Silicone tools. Right, I'm just going to do the edge because I don't want to go. So I've added the yellow onto this one as well. So that's what I'm seeing working as, collections and things, is working in this manner. The gelid plate is really added to my process. It is doing what I wanted to do. It's adding the abstraction that I love with my marks, because I'm able to kind of just make marks and add them to the painting. And I'm really excited about that. You can just draw basically onto your jelly plate. And I'm trying to think where to add this now. Right, go this way. And you get really involved, and it's very physical, and so that's quite a bit of yellow. I'll add to the edge here at the top. And I just love that. So I've got my sketch of my stag in here, and then I'll come back and work on it again in the detail, but we've got the yellow on there. I'm kind of balancing all of this out. Let's see, have I done... So this was the series I started some days ago. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like there were 6. There is another one there, but it's not in the same kind of place as these ones. Let me see. So yeah, I'm going to keep on adding to these with different colors from these paints. And I'm working with acrylic paint, so it does work really. The paint dries fast. And the thing is, all these marks on the jelly plate are never wasted. You can put paper on them even when they're dry. After, you can add another layer of acrylic, and leave the paper on, and it will peel these off. So you always have the textures underneath, and you can always use them. So now I'm trying to think what color I want to add to these paintings. It's going to impact them in some way. Maybe use this one. This orange brown. Might make it lighter. So you can use a ruler, you can do so many things with these. I am also doing this because I don't necessarily want it to be very defined in areas. Another thing actually I remembered of why I got the jelly plate was I was trying to remember what I love adding to my artwork. I love pattern. So that was one of the things that reminded me that a jelly plate would probably be a good thing to have, because I love to add pattern, and I can do that with this. So this is like, you draw the shape out, you put the layers, you redraw. So I don't mind if I lose some of the lines right now. I will come back in and add them back in again. So there's another layer with other colors, because that aspect of adding colors was an issue for me, and that's where I am basically enjoying these, because I can add so many different colors. I think some time ago as well, earlier in the year, some of my sketchbooks, do I have them here? I think I have them nearby. I was doing this with the pages. I would put the paint on either side of the page and put them together, and then I'd end up drawing my different figurative girl portraits. I'll put a video on the side to show you what I mean. So that's added some of that color in there. Love it, love it. So I'm going to do that again with this. Over some of the areas again. So I love to add patterns, and that was something else that got me to get the jelly plate as well. And yeah, I mean, I can add words. There's so much I can do with this for the layers. And then also working in a series, having the patience to let things dry. And there, I've added that color in again. So another thing as well was trying to get my work to be more cohesive. You know, if you saw it somewhere, you're like, okay, that is that is hers. That is a particular series, or that's particular colors as well. Yeah, I was trying to look at also the colors I use, so you can control it a bit more, mixing, preparing ahead of time, being a bit more organized, because I wasn't as organized as I am now. So there's a lot going on at once. It's hard to explain it all because it has been years of experiencing how I create artwork, how I make my decisions, what I want to keep, what I want to take away. I love using paper, and so mounting my art pieces has come into that conversation. So just a minute, just making my way around here. I've got some more papers I want to use up this on. So that's what happens with the jelly plates. You never waste anything. So I can come in here and, let's see. Yeah, it's not got any paint on that. It's the thing, I have to be careful being in here that I don't mess up this, the flooring. It's not been easy, so let's see. But yeah, I just wanted to bring you in and to share what it is I'm getting up to. So now that's got some marks on it for whenever I go in and work on it as well. And you get a lot of, for your paint using the jelly plate. So I'm still getting color off that. These are papers I've had for years. I wrote little stories on them when I was younger, and I want to reuse these papers. All of that is part of my process because I am seeing my own journey as I'm doing this, and what all these marks and all these images and all these background stories are becoming. This was a picture of like my hamster when I was a kid. It was called Speed. Speed was very fast indeed. So Speed was my little hamster, and this was a story about that hamster. And that is the kind of thing that I feel is of value while I'm creating these pieces, because there is a journey of my progress, my process, of what my interests are, the different subjects that I've been part of, and I'm sharing that with people. I'm sharing my legacy in my journey as I'm creating these artworks. And so that's part of why I've started appreciating the fact that I don't like to throw things away, because I am sharing that creative journey with other people. So, and then is there a fear of painting over these things? No, because some things will make its way through. Recording with you guys is helping me to log that as well. And for the time I drew this is a really cute picture of my hamster, and that I loved a lot. So yeah, I wasn't expecting talking about this actually, but that's what I'm doing. I'm using all my papers. I have so much papers. I've been organizing them, cutting them into size, and using them in my artwork. So these are all going to dry. I'm going to keep adding different layers. So I'm going to close this off and keep going. Actually, I'm realizing I didn't put any of this color on this one, so I'm gonna do that. That's what I've been doing here in the studio, is just working away on these pieces, layering them, letting them take time to brew, you know, looking at them, thinking about what I want to do next. color I wanted to keep on the lower part of the paintings, because usually I think I've noticed I like to put some lighter colors at the top, but I want to get like patterns and designs and marks in the actual stag's body as well. Then I can yeah, so I've added that in. This is very obscure looking, but there is a stag in there, and I'll bring it out. I'll pull it out, redact some areas. It'll be clearer later on. And there's some other pieces I've been working on. This I feel is too stiff, so I'm gonna add some more colors into this. So I am really just not thinking about any of this at all. All I'm thinking about is that I want this color, I want this pattern on these, and I'm just putting it on. I'm not thinking further than that. So now I've got that pattern on it. So when I come back, I'll add another thing. So now it's a bit loose, more loose to me. I'll come back, I'll add more colors, fine tune it a little bit. So it's like a back and forth of a journey. I've got one more I want to add into this. I was working on this one the other day as well, so I want to add some of this color onto it. So let's see how it goes when I do it from the bottom part as well. Gonna let them dry, and that's the part is I've been trying to be very patient with these, because that is the best way. If I want to keep them marked, I have to let them dry and then look at the next layer. So I want to add a lot of patterns. I'll blend some areas, I'll do all sorts of stuff. So now that's got a little bit of that brown on it as well. And let's see, I want to use up what's on my palette as well, so I'm just gonna, so I think that's what I'll share with you guys for today. It's just this little snippet of me in the studio working on these. You will see the process as I go along. As I said, like the other pieces, let me bring them back, because if you saw some weeks ago, I painted, I'll show that on the side as well. I painted some of the shapes, and these are some of the pieces that have come out of that. So that is where I'm going. It's consistently just layering the artwork, getting different elements added to it. Some areas will be wishy-washy, kind of more fluid. Other areas will be a lot more blended. Then there'll be the marks. And so this is how they're going to end up. They're going to be a bit more refined than what you're seeing right now. Like, they're not going to look like this. You'll be able to see the shape in this one by the time I finish with it, because I will cut it out. So maybe the next time I film, I can show you how I cut the shape out of them, but it will be more this kind of a result. So you can see how the colors are, because I've mixed them ahead now, they are becoming more cohesive, and I like that. That is something I'm trying to push towards, so that if I'm having a collection, then the colors kind of are suited to themselves. That, I think the colors is what will bring them all in. There might be different marks on them, but the colors. So the next thing I might do with these is, if I don't add some other colors, is to go in and pull my character back out. And so I might use some other colors, like some blues in here, turquoises maybe, and fill in all these white gaps here, and maybe sit and take my time and really assess the colors, because I've added some collages here and I really like this color, so I might bring something similar to that in these areas to tie it a bit more together. But it is so much fun doing these And I'm gonna keep going. That's what I'm doing in the studio. So if it's your first time here, you can check out my other videos as well and see what I have been up to this point. Also, if you subscribe, you will, be able to know when I upload new videos with whatever the update is on these or other videos where I'm showing you my art process. Also, as well, I do have like a website with more information on what it is I'm doing, or there's more information in the description as well. But I do love to paint. That is my key conversation for my channel. I do other mediums as well, for creativity. I like to write and different things as well. So yeah, you can check that out. Also, my Instagram details are below as well. If you're on Instagram, please do join me there. Let me put you up so I can see your face and say goodbye. Right, let's see. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share this week is what I'm getting up to. I like to work with music. I'm learning that because when I've been creating my art recently, I sometimes would put like a YouTube video on, and I've realized that is not really helping me because I get too carried away and absorbed with the conversation. But working with music is helping me to relax and just to get on with it. And some of my mark making from the dramatic music as well, I've realized that that is all playing a part in the way that I generate my work. But as I said, I like to produce originals for people, and layering in this way is helping me to really build my portfolio and have work for those who love the work. So yeah, to have an original piece, I mean, you can see the marks on these. They're not all exactly the same. They're all unique. The characters are going to be unique. I mean, and it's just to work out for myself what kind of story I want to give each of these characters. And that's something else I've been thinking about as well, is telling the story of each of them. So that is even more work I'm adding for myself. Because when I look at them, I feel like I can tell what's going on. And so maybe to share those words, at the bare minimum, the words about the individual character, and maybe one day I'll be able to formulate a bit more of a story. But I'm picking stags. If I've never mentioned this before, I pick stags because I've always been fascinated with them. They're so beautiful, and I feel like they're quite majestic. They care for their herd. They're like protectors. The symbolism in them a lot for me, it can be quite impactful for a lot of reasons for me, which at some point I'll be able to come out with the words to describe why that is. But I just see them as a protector, and that they're loving and caring, and they're majestic looking, and that they're a king of their kingdom. Just a lot of different symbolism inside of that. But yeah, I'll get to that at some point. So the abstraction in it for me as well, it's because I would say I don't have the words to explain what it is I think about the character, what I think about the landscape. So the marks are kind of expressing whatever dynamic expression and conversation is going on. That is what I think is going on. So if at some point the environment looks very sedate, peaceful in the background, or foggy like kind of impressions, because I'm also tying in my environment. I am based in Scotland, and yeah, I'm based in Scotland, and some of those conversations of my environment are feeding in as well. Stags are something that is quite prominent in this our area as well in Scotland. So yeah, there's a lot of things I love about the creative process, and trying to get that story across is something that I am investigating myself. So sometimes I'll throw words out, but it's not the entirety of it. It depends on what is catching my attention at that point in time. So I love it. I love the way that I've added collages in here, and I even love the way that this piece as well, like when I've sketched the ear, that abstracted collage is now part of this stag, and I can now redact this area I will have this painting here, and it's the original piece, you know, color from this, but you won't see this when I'm finished with it because I want to push it into the environment. So it's just fun. It is a language, it's a song, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy also whatever creative sphere you're already doing, or find one to do. It doesn't have to be painting. I'm just sharing what it is I get up to because the art process is so much fun to me, and it's not that I have everything, you know, row in a row that is like cohesive. It's very haphazard how I create, I feel. So I also have to get myself into a place where I can create. And so, yeah, I'm sharing that with you and how you can create yours as well. I'm just going to get back to it because I can't think of anything else to say, but I'll see you guys next week. Bye.